The colony of Arendor sat on a barren red plain, far from Earth. Its domes and towers gleamed under the pale light of a distant sun, a fragile pocket of humanity in the vast alien world. Inside the largest dome, a quiet lab hummed with the soft sound of machines and the occasional beep of alien scanners. Kyle worked at a corner bench, hunched over a cluster of alien crystals. Each crystal pulsed faintly, a living shimmer of unknown energy. Kyle had always been fascinated by them. They were smooth, cold to the touch, and yet somehow alive. Scientists from Earth had spent years studying these crystals, but Kyle felt there was more, something deeper, something no one had noticed yet. He adjusted the resonator on the bench. A tiny hum filled the air, vibrating through his fingers. He carefully rotated one crystal. Suddenly it glowed brighter, and he frowned. The lab's other devices hadn't triggered it. He leaned closer, his breath fogging in the cool air of the dome. "You're at it again, Kyle?" Kyle froze. The voice was soft, musical, like a song he hadn't heard before. He turned, and there she was, Leora, standing in the doorway. Her hair caught the light of the lab, and her eyes sparkled with curiosity. She was new to the colony, a visitor from another settlement. She was here for the exchange program, meant to share culture and learn science. I wasn't expecting anyone," Kyle stammered, awkward as usual. Leora smiled, stepping closer. "I heard the crystals hum. Can I see?" Kyle hesitated. He wasn't used to company. Most people found him strange, obsessed with old alien tech. But there was something in her gaze, a calm, gentle curiosity, that made him feel he could share without embarrassment. He held up the crystal. It sometimes reacts. I think it responds to sound, maybe vibration." Leora tilted her head. "Sound like music?" Kyle shrugged. "Maybe. I haven't figured it out yet." Leora laughed, a soft, airy sound that seemed to float in the air. It was not loud, but it carried a warmth that made Kyle's chest tighten. He felt something strange in the crystals. One of them, a pale blue shard, began to glow brighter than before. The light spread in tiny waves across the bench, tickling Kyle's fingers. Did I do that?" Leora asked, surprised. Kyle's eyes widened. I think you did. Your laughter, it's activating the crystal." She laughed again, a light trill, and the crystal responded even more. Pulses of energy ran through the table, forming patterns Kyle had never seen. The resonator whined softly, struggling to keep up. Kyle's heart raced. He had spent months studying these crystals, trying to understand their energy patterns. No one had ever triggered them like this. It was as if her laughter was alive, reaching into the crystal and awakening something inside. "This is incredible," Kyle whispered. No one's ever done this." Leora tilted her head, curious and playful. "Then you should teach me. Maybe I can help." Kyle swallowed hard. He wanted to explain, wanted to show her everything, but words felt useless. Instead, he handed her another crystal, a smaller one, lighter in his palm. "Try this one, just laugh." Leora took it, raising an eyebrow. "Laugh, seriously?" Kyle nodded, though his hands trembled slightly. "Just naturally. Don't force it." Leora's lips curved, and she laughed softly, a sound like wind over glass. The crystal shivered in her hand and then flared with light, brighter than Kyle had ever seen. It sent tiny sparks across the table, not harmful but alive, like fireflies in miniature. Kyle felt a jolt through his own body. He blinked, unsure what had happened, but the energy seemed to reach him as well. A warmth spread through his chest, not pain, but ignition. Something inside him shifted. "Kyle, are you okay?" Leora asked, noticing his sudden stillness. He nodded, even though he didn't fully understand. I think I'm fine, just your laughter, it's..." He stopped, searching for words. "It's different, it's alive." Leora laughed again, softer this time, and Kyle felt the same surge ripple through him. He realized the crystals were not just responding to sound, they were responding to emotion, resonance, connection. And somehow she was the key. For the next hour, Kyle and Leora experimented together. Each time she laughed naturally, the crystals pulsed in beautiful, unpredictable patterns. Light swirled in the air, tiny arcs of energy danced over the benches, and Kyle felt alive, more alive than he had in years. "You're amazing," Kyle said finally, voice low. "I've studied these for months, but you make them sing." Leora blushed, a soft pink that stood out against the sterile lab walls. "I just like laughing." "And maybe It's fun to see something react to it. Kyle watched her carefully. There was something extraordinary about her, more than just her laughter. Something in the way she moved. The way she noticed the small details of the crystals. The way she made even the hum of a lab machine feel alive. As the sun outside the dome dipped below the horizon, the lab lights dimmed. The colony was quiet now, most of the workers having returned to their quarters. Kale looked at Leora holding the glowing crystal. "Do you want to come back tomorrow? We could see what else we can do." Leora's eyes sparkled. "I'd like that." Kale felt a surge in his chest again, not from the crystals, but from her. It was confusing, new, thrilling. He had never felt this way before. Her laughter had set something on fire inside him, a spark that was more than curiosity. It was hope, excitement, and something else he could not name. That night, Kale lay in his small quarters staring at the ceiling. He could still hear her laughter in his mind, soft and warm, echoing like a song he wanted to remember forever. The crystals glowed faintly in their containment as if agreeing with him. He thought about tomorrow, about Leora, about the strange energy inside him that he couldn't explain. He realized one thing clearly: this was only the beginning. Something had changed. Something extraordinary had started in that quiet lab on Arendor. A girl's laughter had set the boy on fire, not in a dangerous way, but in a way that awakened something powerful, something human, something beyond the reach of ordinary science. Kale didn't know what it would lead to. He didn't know what risks or adventures lay ahead. But for the first time he felt alive, not just as a researcher, but as a human being capable of more than he had ever imagined. And deep down he knew that together, he and Leora could unlock something the universe had never seen before. The soft hum of the crystals filled the room, a promise of fire and light, of discovery and of something more. And as Kale drifted to sleep, the last thought in his mind was simple and pure. Her laughter. It's magic. The next morning, the colony of Arendor was quiet under the faint pink glow of its twin suns. Inside the lab, Kale was already at work, carefully arranging the alien crystals in precise formations. His mind was still buzzing from the events of yesterday. Leora's laughter had ignited something inside him, something he couldn't fully explain. The door hissed open, and there she was, her hair catching the early sunlight like molten gold. Leora's eyes sparkled, and her soft smile made Kale's chest tighten again. "Morning, Kale," she said, stepping inside. "Are you ready for more magic?" Kale nodded, feeling nervous but excited. "Yeah, I want to see if we can understand what happens when you laugh." Leora picked up a crystal, turning it gently in her hands. "All right, but don't expect me to make it do anything amazing every time. My laughter is just laughter." Kyle smiled awkwardly. "It's more than that. Yesterday you, I don't know, made them respond to something deep. Something alive." She laughed softly again, the sound like sunlight spilling across water. The crystal in her hand pulsed and shimmered. Kale's fingers tingled as he reached out to touch it. The energy leapt to him warm and alive, as if welcoming him. For hours they experimented. Kale learned that the crystals responded not only to sound but to emotion. When Leora laughed with joy, the crystals pulsed brighter, sometimes sending small arcs of harmless energy into the air. When she was thoughtful, they glimmered softly as if listening. Kale realized that these were not ordinary alien objects. They were alive in ways humans had not yet understood, and they resonated with human feeling. As the day passed, Kale became more confident. He learned to control the energy with subtle gestures, guided by Leora's laughter. Sometimes he could make the crystals float, forming spinning orbs of light. Sometimes he could create a small heat field that felt warm and comforting. Each time Leora laughed, delighted, and the crystals responded even more strongly. "You're getting better," Leora said during a pause. "You're not just reacting, you're guiding them," Kale blushed. I think it's because of you. Your laughter. It helps me feel it, understand it." Leora's cheeks warmed, but she didn't stop smiling. "Well, if I'm helping, then I'll keep laughing." As the sun dipped lower, a sudden alarm echoed through the colony. Red lights flashed across the lab. Kale and Leora exchanged worried glances. "What's happening?" Leora asked. Kale checked the monitors. "An energy storm, it's coming faster than expected. We need to secure the lab." Outside, the sky roared with violet lightning. Winds whipped the red dust across the plains. The alien crystals in the lab began to vibrate, reacting to the approaching storm. Kale realized that the energy within them could interact with the storm. But it was unpredictable, dangerous if misused. "We can use the crystals," Kale said, "to protect the dome. But we have to be careful. I don't know exactly how they'll respond." Leora's soft smile returned, but determination shone in her eyes. "We'll do it together." "I trust you." Kyle felt a warmth spread in his chest, stronger than before. Her words, her presence, her laughter, they weren't just sparking the crystals, they were sparking him. Together, they arranged the crystals around the lab's perimeter. Leora laughed softly as she moved, testing the energy fields. Each laugh caused the crystals to pulse, creating glowing shields that rippled outward. Kale guided them, his hands steady, his mind clear. The storm approached, but the shields held. Outside, the winds howled, and violet lightning struck the dome. But the energy from the crystals absorbed the impact. Sparks danced across the shields, reflecting in Kale's eyes. He couldn't believe it. They were not just surviving, they were controlling the alien storm. Hours passed. The storm eventually weakened, moving past the colony. The lab was safe, though the sky remained streaked with violet lightning. Kale and Leora slumped against the table, exhausted but exhilarated. "You did it," Leora said softly, her laughter now a quiet, comforting hum. "We did it." Kyle shook his head, still staring at the glowing crystals. "No, it was you. Your laughter. It guided them, controlled them. I couldn't have done this alone." Leora reached out and touched his hand. "You don't have to do anything alone, Kale. Not ever." Her touch was warm, and Kale felt the energy surge again, but this time, it wasn't just the crystals. It was inside him, responding to her, alive and powerful. He realized something extraordinary. Humans could interact with alien energy through emotion. Leora had shown him a new path, one that no scientist had discovered before. The next day, Kale was called to a meeting with the colony's senior researchers. They had noticed the unusual energy patterns during the storm. "Kale," said the lead scientist, an older man named Draven, "your experiments are unprecedented. These crystals shouldn't respond to human laughter." "Tell me exactly what happened." Kyle hesitated, glancing at Leora. She nodded slightly, encouraging him. He took a deep breath. "It's the person laughing. Her emotions, her laughter. It triggers the energy in the crystals. It's not just sound, it's something alive, something the crystals recognize." Draven's eyebrows rose. "Alive? Human emotions interacting with alien bioenergy? That's extraordinary. This could change everything we know about human potential." Kyle felt a thrill. He realized this was bigger than the lab. Bigger than him. Humans had something the aliens didn't. Emotion, creativity, connection. That was the key to unlocking new technology. New ways of survival, and maybe even new ways to explore the universe. But there were challenges too. Not everyone in the colony was supportive. Some were skeptical, others jealous. Kale felt the weight of responsibility. He couldn't let the energy fall into the wrong hands. And he knew deep down that the key was Leora and her laughter. That evening, Kale and Leora returned to the lab. They worked in silence at first, arranging crystals in new patterns. Then Kyle spoke. "Leora, do you realize what we can do?" "With your laughter. With the crystals, we can protect the colony, explore the storms, maybe even communicate with alien life in ways no one else can." Leora smiled softly. "I realize. But it's scary, Kale, this power. It's bigger than us. We have to be careful." Kyle nodded. "I know, but we can learn together. You and me. We can do this." She laughed then, a small, quiet laugh. The crystals responded immediately, pulsing gently, filling the room with soft light. Kale felt the familiar warmth surge through him. He realized that her laughter wasn't just beautiful. It was a tool, a weapon and a bridge. For the first time, Kale understood something incredible. Human emotion could shape reality when combined with alien technology. And that realization set him on fire, not with fear but with possibility. The night passed and the lab glowed softly. Kale stayed awake, thinking of Leora, of the crystals, of the strange and powerful connection between them. He didn't know what challenges the colony would face next, but he knew one thing. With Leora by his side, he was ready for anything. And somewhere deep in the colony, under the twin suns of Arendor, two young humans discovered that even the smallest spark, a soft laugh, could ignite something extraordinary, something that might change the universe forever. The morning sun barely touched the red plains of Arendor, but the colony was already stirring. Kale and Leora had spent the night arranging the alien crystals, preparing for the unknown. They knew the energy from Leora's laughter had extraordinary potential, but they also knew it could attract attention, both good and dangerous. Kyle glanced at Leora as she carefully placed a crystal on the bench. Her hair glimmered in the soft light, and her eyes held determination. He realized again how much she had changed him. Her laughter, gentle and soft, was not just music, it was power, a spark that ignited his mind and body in ways he could never have imagined. Suddenly, alarms blared across the colony. Red lights flashed and a deep rumble shook the ground. Kale's heart raced. "Something's coming," he said. "And it's not a storm this time." Leora's eyes widened. "Aliens?" Kale nodded grimly. "They're attracted to the crystal's energy. Our work, our connection, it's drawing them here." Outside the dome, shadows moved across the red plains. Massive alien creatures, their skin glimmering like dark metal, approached the colony. They were drawn by the energy pulses from the crystals. Curious, cautious, and dangerous. Kale turned to Leora. "We have to use the crystals to protect the colony. But it's going to be risky. We don't know if we can control them completely." Leora nodded, a soft but firm smile on her face. "We can do it together, Kale. Just stay close." The two of them arranged the crystals in a wide circle, connecting them with strands of energy that pulsed softly at first. Leora laughed, a quiet, deliberate laugh, and the crystals responded immediately. Light flared across the dome, forming protective barriers that shimmered like glass. Kale extended his hands, guiding the energy. Slowly, he felt control settling into him, as if he and Leora were one with the crystals. The aliens reached the perimeter of the dome. Their eyes glowed, scanning, curious but cautious. Kale focused, letting the energy flow through him, responding to Leora's laughter. The crystals pulsed in unison, creating arcs of soft energy that surrounded the intruders. The creatures hesitated, sensing the strange human-powered force. "Keep laughing," Kale whispered. "Just keep laughing." Leora obeyed, her laughter rising in pitch, soft but continuous. The crystals responded like living beings, forming shields and soft pulses that gently pushed the aliens back without harming them. Kale realized something incredible. They didn't need to fight. They could communicate with energy, using emotion and laughter as a language. The aliens hesitated, observing the humans' strange display. Kale felt the energy thrumming through him, guided by her laughter. The warmth in his chest was intense, not dangerous but alive, like fire spreading through his veins. He reached out mentally, letting the energy flow outward, forming a glowing wall that repelled the creatures. One of the aliens stepped closer, its eyes curious. Kale felt a twinge of fear, but Leora's soft hand on his arm steadied him. She laughed again, and the energy surged. The alien paused, then slowly backed away, retreating toward the red plains. Kyle exhaled, feeling exhaustion and exhilaration at the same time. "We did it," he said, barely above a whisper. Leora smiled, but her eyes were serious. "This is only the beginning. They'll come back. And maybe others will come too. We need to understand our power better." Over the next few days, Kyle and Leora trained with the crystals, exploring the limits of their abilities. They learned that laughter wasn't the only trigger. Emotion mattered. Joy, determination, even calm focus could shape the energy. They could create shields, light, heat, and subtle signals visible to others who knew how to read them. Kyle realized something extraordinary. Humans, unlike any other species, could manipulate alien energy through emotion and connection. No alien technology alone could do this. It was human ingenuity and feeling combined, a power unique to them. One evening, as the twin suns set, painting the sky with violet and gold, Kale and Leora sat outside the lab. Crystals glowed softly around them, pulsating with gentle energy. "You know," Kyle said, staring at the light. "When I first saw you laugh, I didn't think it would do this. I didn't think it would awaken something in me and the crystals. In us." Leora's soft laugh answered him. "I just laughed because it felt good. I didn't know I was powerful." Kale shook his head. "You are. Your laughter. It's a signal, a bridge. It's like the universe is responding to you. To us." She blushed, looking down at her hands. "And you? You helped guide it." "We did this together," Kale smiled. "Together. Weeks passed and the colony began to thrive under their newfound abilities. They could defend against alien threats without violence, using laughter and emotion as tools. They discovered ways to explore the planet's storm safely, communicate subtly with the creatures, and even harness the energy to power parts of the colony. But their greatest realization came one quiet night. Kyle and Leora stood on a hill outside the colony, watching the alien plains stretch endlessly. The crystals hummed softly in their hands. "Do you feel it?" Kyle asked. "The connection, not just with the crystals, but with everything? The wind, the creatures, even the stars?" Leora nodded. "It's like the universe is alive, and we are part of it." Kyle smiled, feeling a warmth he had never known. "We're human," he said softly. "And this is what humans can do. We can adapt, connect, create. Nothing else can." Leora laughed softly, and the crystals responded instantly, sending gentle arcs of light into the sky. The aliens in the distance paused, watching, understanding in their own way. Kale realized the truth. Humans had something unique, the power of emotion and ingenuity combined. It was not strength, not weapons, not numbers. It was human spirit. The story of that day would be remembered in the colony for years. Two young humans, a boy and a girl, had discovered a way to defend their home, explore their world, and communicate with life unlike anything anyone had ever imagined. And it all began with something simple, a soft, honest human laugh. Kyle looked at Leora, her face glowing in the light of the crystals. "Your laughter, it set me on fire," he whispered. She smiled, her eyes soft and warm. "And you helped me see what humans can truly do." Together, they laughed again, softly, gently, letting the energy flow through them and into the world. It was a laughter that healed, that protected, that connected. It was proof that human emotion could shape the universe, that humans were extraordinary not because of technology alone, but because of who they were inside. And on the red plains of Arendor, under the twin suns, Kyle and Leora stood side by side, glowing with energy and possibility, ready for whatever the universe would throw at them next. Because humans, Kale realized, were capable of more than anyone, or anything, had ever imagined.